What's up, guys and girls? Uber Mike SoCal here with another update to my YouTube channel. In today's update, I have noticed an article about Uber and all of its lawsuits from the moment it started up until now, and I wanted to give you my commentary since I've been driving for Uber part-time for nearly 1 year. It'll be 1 year in January 2017. So here's my take. The article is down below in the Show More area. You'll see the direct link to this story. And I'm going to read off some interesting highlights of the story real quick, give you my take as a driver for the past year. So basically it starts off saying, since its launch in 2009, Uber has been juggling a nonstop barrage of lawsuits from governments, drivers, passengers, and competitors. Some have been settled out of court, while others have dragged on indeterminably. The first one says, drivers versus Uber. One of the biggest battles Uber has been fighting since it launched. Are the Uber drivers passengers or employees? Or are they contractors? So basically, people are trying to get benefits in these class action lawsuits, and they're saying that they're contractors when they're actually treated like employees. Lawyers from California and Massachusetts drivers in the case reached a tentative $100 million settlement earlier this year that would not change the driver statuses but would add certain protections and allow them to solicit tips. So I'll stop right there. Do I think that Uber drivers are employees? Yes, in a way they are, and no, in the way that we're 1099 form employees or contractors. I don't expect to have benefits from Uber. I know a lot of drivers are fighting for it. I don't personally believe that with the freedom involved with Uber and being allowed to turn it on and off, that you really are an employee of the company. I mean, think of every job that you've ever had. When could you just turn off your job and say, you know what, screw it, I'm going home because I feel like it? Or I'm going to take my lunch break whenever I feel like it. I'm going to go visit my friend. Screw you, work. Doesn't really happen, right? To be an employee means you're expected to do your job. And yes, we as drivers do our job with Uber. No one's disputing that. However, to have the freedom that we do we really want to be employees? Because think about what happens when you're an employee. Then you have a boss. Then you have a supervisor. Then you have benefits, but then you're also in a different classification. The whole point of the job is to do it when you want and to offer a service. So for me, I'm kind of torn on that. I don't believe that being an employee would be beneficial. Given that Uber has had plenty of problems, I don't see how being an employee would make them any better. So on to the next one. 5,000 Uber drivers filed suit in federal court on behalf of 10 drivers for misclassification. That proposed class action suit claims drivers are employees and therefore eligible for minimum wage, overtime, and expense reimbursement. So if you are suing for minimum wage, I do believe that Uber should offer an hourly wage. The reason being is that there are hours to where you don't make minimum wage. They aren't common in my area, but it does happen. Let's face it. This is reality. That's how Uber works. On the flip side of that coin, you can make $40, $50, $100 in an hour. I've done it. So it's variable. I would like to see a minimum amount. Let's just say $10.50. I think that's fair. Nationwide, it's not a whole lot, but at least be something. And put a qualifier on it. As long as you do 1 or 2 rides in an hour, how about that? $10.50. Is Uber going to lose money? Maybe. I don't know their financials. But I would say as long as you're doing your job, you're not going to get $10.50 every hour. So on to the next one. Termination. Multiple drivers are suing Uber and Lyft for back pay and benefits after the companies stopped service in Austin, Texas. Drivers sued and said they should receive more notice and are asking for back pay and benefits. I'd like to say that that really sucks for Austin. They should have some notice, and I do agree that they should get something for that, just as compensation. I don't think that's asking a whole lot, really. That was really screwed of them to pull out and treat drivers that way. And on to price fixing. An Uber passenger was saying that Uber colluded with drivers to raise prices. I'm thinking that they're probably referring to the price fixing with surge manipulation. That has been addressed in the time that I've been a driver. I don't think that that's a huge issue anymore. Maybe it was back in the day. Who knows? Maybe it's still going on. I don't really think drivers are really turning off their app and manipulating the surge pricing as much as they were in the past. It has been addressed as far as I know. That's not to say it doesn't happen, but price fixing, I don't know. Do you consider price fixing to turn on your app when there's surge? There's plenty of drivers out there, from what I'm told, that only drive when surge is active. Is that collusion? I don't know. It may or may not be. I mean, everyone wants to get paid more, but I don't really buy the argument that they're actually price fixing. So moving on. Safety. 2 women are suing the company for fraud after being sexually assaulted by drivers in unrelated incidents. So they're suing for money, basically, because they got molested or raped or whatever. I'm not going to go into too much detail on that. That'll be for another video. There's good and bad people on this planet, and you can't expect a company to be liable for what one idiot decides to do. Maybe the guy was guilty, maybe he wasn't. Maybe someone just found an opportunity to sue a company with billions of dollars to their own benefit. Wouldn't be the first time. Let's say it actually happened and she was raped. That's a terrible thing, obviously. But think of all the thousands of drivers that Uber has driving for them. How many rape cases do you hear about? Not many, right? A needle in the haystack. It's not to say it can't happen or doesn't happen. It's a shame that it does. But bad people are in any job. It doesn't matter who you are. If you have a job and you're a scumbag, well, there you have it. Is that the company's fault for hiring you? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe it's actually the person's fault for doing such ridiculous and heinous crimes and deciding that they're going to try and get away with it. I think personal accountability is first and foremost. Moving on. Background checks, lawsuits. Uber doesn't require fingerprint checks like taxis. Its name, social security number, etc. And Uber saying it's thorough. In other cities, they're claiming that they had a gold standard of background checks. Uber settled the lawsuit in San Francisco and Los Angeles for up to $25 million, claiming that it did have the gold standard of background checks, though it did not have to make any changes to the actual background check process. It settled 2 earlier class action lawsuits for $28.5 million and its misleading safe ride fee. So to touch on that safe ride fee, if you aren't aware of what that was, it was a little addendum or miscellaneous thing on there that was basically just Uber money. And Uber allowed it to be interpreted as this is a extra fee that's going towards driver compensation, or leading to the assumption that it's a tip. It never was a tip. That was total bullshit. I have riders to this day that I pick up that have been using the service for a year or two, whatever, and they say, oh, I thought that was part of your tip. I didn't know you could tip in cash. Well, Uber got sued about that. For anyone that's new to Uber and driving, you can solicit tips. I don't personally. You can use signage. You can get professional made signs for that purpose, but never ask directly for a tip. It's just not the way it works. If you do a good job and you get nothing, well, life sucks. I'm here to tell you, it's hard. Not everyone's going to come out of pocket and give you money. Be happy when you do get tips. I always thank them and tell them I appreciate the tip. They didn't have to do that for you. I would like each and every person that I give a 5-star rated experience to leave a tip, but they're not all going to do it. So, I mean, with all the lawsuits that are going on Forgive me, I'm a little bit sick here, so if I ramble or stumble around and can't talk right, I apologize. Fighting this stupid cold I've had for days, and it sucks. Anyway, the amount of lawsuits that Uber has, it's a newer company. Every company, especially something as drastic as Uber, goes through a growing pain process. It's not always going to be fair. It's not always going to be just, and people are going to whine and bitch about it and sue. Not all the lawsuits, in my opinion, are valid. Some of them are. Some of these I have given an opinion about. What I would like to hear from you guys, anyone that watched through the end of this video, what is your opinion on this? Leave the comment down below. Make sure you read the story down below where it says show more in the description. It'll have a direct link to the story. And leave your comment. What do you think about all these issues? Is Uber justified in what they do? Are they completely wrong? Give your take down below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you have not subscribed to this video, go ahead and hit subscribe. It's free of charge, gets you all my videos past, present, and future. From yours truly, Uber Mike SoCal. Until next time, guys. See you later.